Monday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world after the weekend. Looks a lot of times we come in here on Mondays, and the whole world has been set on fire in terms of what's happening out there in the world. How's it today? Well, we'll get you updated on the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, and also local and national stories that you need to know as well. So let's get it started with that market watch. And so far here on this Monday, it's been a good day overall here on the market. Oil prices are something that are being watched right now. They are falling here today, and we'll give you updated on that story here in just a few. Plus, we got some more updates around that China and United States, the two presidents meeting last week. Some more updates came out last night as well. All of that, bond yields are also being watched as, they're not spiking like they were at the end of last week. Well, the Dow Jones right now is up to 272 points to 49,668. The S&P 500 is up 15 points to 7412. And then you got the NASDAQ out there. That actually is down today, but it's only down 36 points to 26,194. And then the Russell 2K, 13 points down. 2779 is what that is trading at right now. The number on the screen is incorrect, just to give you a heads up, but it's lagging a little bit longer. Those were about opening numbers about 30 minutes ago, but it is trending down 13 points to 2779. Bitcoin, big decrease over the weekend. Down today, 626 points. But it went down to 75,000 over the weekend. Today, it's at 76,770 for Bitcoin right now. Some of that for Bitcoin, by the way, has to do with that legislation going through the market, going through the Congress, I should say, the Senate, the Clarity Act. A lot of lobbying going on by these cryptocurrencies to open that up a little bit. So a lot of that is due to, some of that is due, some of the fall of Bitcoin is due to the Clarity Act negotiations out there as well. Right now, just some headlines that are hitting us. Home builder sentiment is improving because of late spring surge in demand on the home builder side. Home builder sentiment rose 3 points from May to April. The average rates right now are 6.65% on mortgages as of this morning as well. So fewer builders cutting prices in May compared to April is what that consumer report is showing. That's just breaking right now. Those are just the headlines from that report out there. Then you've got stocks we're paying attention to, some good ones out there, at least some good news ones. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals is the first one that we are going to look at this morning. They are down 10.08%. This is not one of the good ones, but they're down 10% here today, which is $70 drop here for them. They had a treatment for skin cancer. Well, that has missed its goals in a late-stage trial. So Regeneron Pharmaceuticals not having a good morning today based off of that news. I can tell you it has come back a little bit. As you see in your graph there, that big upward swing as it's gone on. It was down a lot more earlier in the week. Then you got Macy's out there. Interesting development here with Macy's and a lot of companies this morning. Macy's is up 2.28% as of right now. Well, they they did a regulatory filing, revealed Berkshire Hathaway. They initiated a small position in the company. Why do I say it's interesting? Berkshire Hathaway has affected a lot of companies today, either by buying or selling. They're making portfolio changes, let's put it that way, over the last week or two as well. So they say the value here into Macy's that Berkshire Hathaway's bought in at is $55 million. They did it at the end of the first quarter. It's small. It's a small purchase for Berkshire Hathaway. So a lot of people are just speculating that it was bought by the investment lieutenant. His name's Ted Weissler out there. He manages 6% of the equity portfolio. So that's why they think it was him making some of these moves, is because of the small percentages out there. Then there's a lot of Berkshire Hathaway moves here throughout a lot of individual stocks here this morning. Dominion Energy, well, they're up today as well. We're going to take a look at them. 11.39% right now. Well, a company called NextEra Energy, they announced a deal to acquire Dominion Energy in an all-stock transaction. NextEra said the combination of the two companies will create the world's largest regulated electric utility business out there. So, Dominion Energy up to 11.49% based off the news they will be purchased here coming up. Later on, when we come back, we're going to look at one of those, let's say, chip companies, ARM Holdings. We talk about them a lot here in terms of their stock. In terms with Intel and NVIDIA and things to that, we'll look specifically at their stock coming up. Delta Airlines and either United Health. We'll take a look at them as well coming up here. When we look at the stocks here later in the program, but first, let's get into kind of the national stories that are out there after the weekend. And we got some more clarity and some more information on the two presidents meeting, China's president and the United States president meeting last week in China. Some big information here as well. The White House said yesterday that China is set to purchase at least $17 billion in agricultural products from the U.S. per year as well. Yeah, per year, $17 billion. Obviously, this was negotiated last week in that China trip. In a fact sheet released Sunday, the White House said that Trump, while in China, negotiated a sweeping package, is their words, of commitments that will drive high paying American jobs and open new markets for U.S. goods. So and that's a big amount. And a lot of that farmers will be contributing, getting a lot of benefit from as well. I remember back on the way back from Beijing, Trump assured farmers that they would be satisfied with the deals that he had reached with the Chinese government and everything. So now this is huge money coming over if that deal is in fact true and China's going to buy $17 billion. Remember they buying soybeans and that we knew about that negotiation. But now we're seeing the dollar amounts out there staggering that China has committed into the United States and what we make and produce here. So now we get into the oil story here as well. Oil has declined here today. And it's all after Iranian media said the U.S. had proposed a temporary waiver on oil sanctions that was imposed on Iran as part of peace talks, aiming to end the war. Well, Brent this morning retreated near $108 and had earlier risen as much as 2.5% in early market trading. The semi-official news agency over in Iran, it's called Tasnim, they reported that the U.S. is proposing a temporary waiver until the final deal is reached on the war. The U.S. hasn't confirmed that that has happened. Iranian oil has been under severe sanctions since President Trump withdrew from that nuclear deal back in its first term. Over the weekend, he posted on Trump as another update. He posted on social media, quote, "For Iran, the clock is ticking. They better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them." In all capitals, he said, "Time is of the essence." Yeah. Iran said earlier this morning that it was continuing dialogue with the U.S. via Pakistan. Oil has risen, as we all know, about 50% since the beginning of that U.S. and Israeli, Iranian war happening. That was at the end of February, February 28th. Yes, all because of those less and sometimes chokehold there on the oil leaving that Strait of Hormuz, as well in terms of suppliers. We all know gas prices have been extremely volatile, as we've all experienced as well. So steep drops at times and then big upgrades at times. It's like a roller coaster ride out there. So we know that on the oil side, at least in terms of negotiations there with Iran moving forward. Now, let's get into some local stories, or at least American stories here on the U.S. homeland as well. And interesting things happening in California. We've reported companies leaving California multiple times here on the program. Here's another update for you as well. Because a very large Coca-Cola bottling plant in Ventura, of all places, California. Now, it's been there for over a century and has been working. Well, it's going to shut down permanently this summer, ending that long-standing relationship between the company and the city of Ventura. It's called Reyes Coca-Cola Bottling, which is a big company. They have multiple plants. Well, they made the announcement in a May 8th warn notice. That is a 60 days heads up that is legally required that employers must give to workers before a major layoff or office closure. So it's the Ventura Distribution Center. They're going to transfer operations to their other Southern California facilities out there. From what I read, most of the people are going to be transferred into other, delivery drivers, people that move the pallets around, in the warehouse. I've read they've all going to be moved on. It's about 85 people there. But what's fascinating to me on this story is this isn't the first Coca-Cola plant shutting down. No, two other ones. One was a Reyes Bottling Co., and so they've had two that they've shut down. But there's another one out there as well. Two other Coca-Cola plants have closed over the last 2 years over in Southern California as well. So this is the third one now as well. So we're seeing a lot of, despite what the government says there in California, we're seeing, quite frankly, companies just packing up and leaving or shutting down and not investing over there. And now story kind of makes me laugh. And those of us older people that watch this show, this one kind of gonna make you giggle a little bit because we all know the benefits of malls, right? We grew up around the malls, we grew up at the malls. Well, Gen Z shoppers, they're kind of reformulating malls and finding out what malls are for. It's for shopping, but it's for other things as well. Socializing, getting away from your parents, being in air conditioning in the summertime. Yes. Gen Z shoppers are helping fuel a new chapter for America's malls, folks. Yeah, younger consumers increasingly favor in person shopping experiences over simply ordering it online, which is the easiest thing to do. Well, Gen Z's spending habits are becoming a major focus for retailers and mall operators looking to adapt to the now changing consumer behavior. I'm still a guy that I will buy something in person long before I'll order anything online. That comes to clothes, shoes. Just like to see it, feel it, move it, and all that stuff. Papa Mike says, us older, that's not for me. Me either, Papa Mike. According to data firm Nielsen IQ, Gen Z retail spending is expected to surpass $12 trillion globally by 2030. Growth is outpacing every other generation, and it's usually the case for the younger generations. When they get into the workforce, they tend to outspend everyone else. They don't save at those young ages. Data for Sakana also found shoppers between 18 and 24 years old. Well, they made 62% of their general merchandise purchases in physical stores last year. Yeah, that was 52% among consumers 25 and older. So it's not a huge difference, about 10 percentage points. Matter of fact, it is 10 percentage points difference from those perspectives. Those trends come as broader retail spending has remained resilient, as we know, despite ongoing economic uncertainty. We told you last week that U.S. retail sales rose 0.5% in April from the previous month, and they climbed 4.9% year over year as well. Well, consumers are still spending, even as higher interest rates do continue pressuring those household budgets. Younger shoppers, well, they are prioritizing experiences alongside the purchases. And that's not just experiences in the stores. It's not like you have to have a Ferris wheel for them. It's also just a, socializing aspect of it. Go meet friends at the mall and then go shopping. Those types of experiences is what Gen Z has found. And, those of us old enough to remember those days at Wells, it wasn't about going to the mall and shopping and getting an Orange Julius and a Cinnabon and, you know, going to the stores in there that I don't remember their names. Yeah, no, it was about the friends and hanging out and being seen out there, right? Hey, when we come on back here at McCollum on Business on this Monday edition, we keep it rolling here as well. We got local stories coming your way, so stay tuned with us as well. Don't forget, follow us, TME Media AZ as well. Catch us live right there, right now as well. So, folks, we'll be right back. McCollum on Business. back here at McCollum on Business. As I said, going into the break, well, follow us, TME Media AZ on YouTube. Of course, we got live programming going out there right now, 7 a.m. Of course, we're on Robat TV. As well as soon as we get done here, everything goes up on demand at YouTube as well as on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media. And then on there's a channels button. If you press on the channels, you can go to the specific show that you're interested in. That main page there that you go to, it just has all these shows as they're updated on there. It can be a convoluted mess by their standards there. So the channel button helps you out a little bit as well for you Rumble fans out there. And everything, of course, we appreciate it. Allows you to show us with your friends, watch us throughout the day as well. And every show, we do have some social media aspects coming to this show up. That's one of the things we're working on with some people coming up and joining us on board here over the next couple of weeks, and some changing of some formats. It's going to be nice additions to the show as well as they work out. But social media will be coming here, of course. And then no podcast yet on this program either. But Main Event has its own podcast. Just search the Main Event with Steven or the Main Event with Dale. It pops up for you. The Pit Stop Talk is what you can search, or hit up the Pit Stop with Steven. That comes up for you. Of course, episode coming this week, Indy 500 week, as well as the NASCAR All-Star Race also finished last weekend as they continue their season forward. Coca-Cola 600 coming up this weekend as well. So big show coming up this week. And then, of course, The Real Matrix over on Rumble, not on YouTube, but on Rumble. And it has its own podcast, The Real Matrix, Angry Fan, is what you'll search. It comes right up for you. There as well. We appreciate you guys supporting our programming here as well. And a new episode, Real Matrix, came out on Friday. You want to check that out. It's kind of a potpourri of lies is what that is. It takes a bunch of different subjects and kind of shows, now maybe things aren't exactly the way they seem there. Real Matrix is up here from Friday as well. Every Friday at noon. New episode comes out on Rumble and the podcast systems as well. TME Sports Show is where you can find that on X. The Pit Stop Talk on X as well. TME Media AZ on X is what you're going to want to follow, folks. That's our parent company. Kind of tells you what we do around here. Doesn't post a ton to yet. Not that we're going to do it and spam you, but going to post a little bit more coming up with some exciting things we have coming on board here with some few changes out there. Of course, we appreciate you, whether you're catching us on Robat TV this morning or you're catching us, of course, on TME Media AZ on YouTube. Like we saw Papa Mike is, Ann and her kids are probably tuning in as well as they are driving to school out there. Appreciate you guys very much. And like I said, the growth of our programming is kind of cool to see, and we appreciate you. We can't do that without you out there. With all that being said, let's get into that Market Watch. And everybody's eyeing those low oil prices that are dropping here. Bond yields also dropping after that big spike. Went up to 5.1% at one point on Friday. Well, everything's up today for the most part. The NASDAQ has flipped here, but Dow Jones is up 259 points right now. It's at 49,656. S&P 500's up to 26 points, 74.23. NASDAQ was negative earlier. Well, it's positive right now, 31 points to 26,257. Well, the Russell 2K, it is positive here as well. 1 point up, 27.90. As everything's kind of going to the positive side here as the trading day continues. It's still early, though. We're just an hour into this Monday morning trading day out there. The one that isn't rebounded at all, Bitcoin. They are down to 76,701 as of right now. Over the weekend, Bitcoin, well, it fell more than, 5% over the weekend. It went below 77,000 for the first time since early May. It has been riding that 80,000 level line since early May as well. That's causing stocks like Coinbase and Robinhood, which we don't have graphs for you on. It's causing them to fall today. Coinbase is down 2.5%. Robinhood's down about 2% here today as well because Bitcoin prices are sliding here over the weekend. Other stocks we're paying attention to right now, but we do have graphs. Well, the first one's ARM Holdings, chip company here. We talk about them a lot. We don't always show you their graph. We focused on Intel, Nvidia, and like AMD, for instance, and we kind of talk about them in that aspect. Well, they're now 1.57% here this morning. Bloomberg reported on Friday that a probe by the U.S. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, well, it's investigating if the company is illegally monopolizing parts of the chip market. To an investigation, a government investigation on monopolization, possibly. Arm Holdings is down 1.44% right now. Then you got Delta Airlines, is what we're going to look at here, right? We're going into the summer season. Travel, airlines, and air fare is expensive right now. Well, they're up 2.51%. Delta is here today. I told you, I'm not even touching on how many stocks have been hit by Berkshire Hathaway today. Delta Airlines did a regulatory filing and it showed Berkshire Hathaway took a sizable stake in the airline, a total of $2.6 billion they took out in Delta Airlines. It comes 6 years after Warren Buffett moved Berkshire's equity portfolio out of airlines. Well, this obviously Warren Buffett has retired from that company and they're moving back into airlines with a $2.6 billion buy-in of Delta Airlines. And then you got United Health is the next one we're going to look at. They, you know them, they do biggest insurer in the country, 1.50% down as of right now. It was revealed in the same regulatory filing that Berkshire Hathaway had sold their shares of some of the company in the first quarter. The United Health is down today with Berkshire Hathaway unloading some of their shares out there as well. So Berkshire Hathaway did this regulatory filing report, hit a lot of companies, folks. It's not just these. These are just the ones that we're focusing on out there as well. But there were several companies getting hit here with purchasing and selling by Berkshire Hathaway here this morning. And isn't this the first time we've seen some real movement with that company since Warren Buffett did retire earlier this year? Now let's get into some local stories that you need to know out there. And remember that story last week on Waymo having those problems with um, flooding, et cetera, like in the National Transportation Highway Board kind of did a recall on them. Well, KJAZ reached out to a spokesperson for Waymo, and Waymo said its autonomous vehicle services in the valley, they are not impacted by a recall of its entire fleet. So is it a recall of your entire fleet if it doesn't include the Air Phoenix market? That's my question. If you remember last week, Waymo announced a recall of more than 3,700 vehicles because that's all about that software defect that caused some to drive into flooded roadways in San Antonio following some recent severe storms that they had. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, I call them a board, it's the administration. This big report they came out with, the affected cars include those with the company's fifth automated driving system. That's the same software used by Waymo serving the public here in the Phoenix area. So the spokesperson for the company did tell KJAZ that there are no disruptions to vehicles or services here in Phoenix. Okay. I don't know if that makes you feel better or not. We don't have those severe weather situations yet, right? It's not monsoon season out there. But the service continuing there with Waymo. Hey, lots of debates over data centers and everything. And I can tell you this company we're about to talk about already has a couple big data centers out in this area. I know I drive by it all the time, and I like their data centers, not because of the energy they use. I'm still against all that because it caused my prices to go up. But their buildings, they don't just make big square buildings. They actually make buildings that look nice and kind of not blend in, but just look nice as you're driving down the road compared to some of them that are just big buildings, right, with no flair to them. And now a massive data center project planned in Mesa is going to move forward because the Mesa Planning Commission, well, their members cast their votes on May 13th in a quiet and almost empty chamber there, ending a 10-minute meeting with a unanimous vote that recommended approval of that 2.2 million square foot data center project. Yeah, this meeting, well, it's amazing how quiet it was and how nobody was in there. Because lately there's been big crowds, big loud crowds, right? Remember that? Remember that big crowd, a very vocal crowd for that 4-hour meeting in Chandler City Council? last December. That was when they all struck opposition to that data center there in Chandler at that point. Now, this one, more quiet over in Mesa. I can tell you this, I wasn't aware of it. Not that I would have gone, but I live right there and I wasn't aware of it at all. But scrutiny is coming on these data centers. The scrutiny is out there on these data centers as well. So it's 173 acres of land out there on Pecos Road was acquired by NTT Data Corp, which is a Tokyo-based company. It was bought back in March 2025 for $300 million. The company has plans to construct a seven-building data center campus, private power station, as well as a new Salt River Project substation on that site as well. But there's a lot of opposition to these data centers, and for this one to be so quietly 10-minute approved, nobody in the crowd, kind of surprises me a little bit out there. Now, where it's going in, it's not a built up area yet. It's out there by that, um, the baseball fields and everything out there, the Arizona Athletic Grounds. It's out toward that direction and a lot of vacant land still. And as of now, it's not near a ton of houses and things. um, like some of these other ones are out there. So maybe that's the difference between Chandler and or out there in Mesa as well. Well, here's a story for you. Were you in downtown Phoenix and everything? Well, you know, you need to find parking down there. You don't want to spend money on the garage. You're only going to be there for a little bit, right? You just want to pay by a meter. You know how hard it can be to find open parking, with a parking meter there in downtown Phoenix? Well, here's the thing. Just be aware, some of the meters are broken. Well, they say you still have to pay for them. You will still get a ticket if you try to get past it. The Street Transportation Department in Phoenix says a battery issue has caused some parking meters in downtown area to malfunction. They say that they are aware of the problem and working to replace the batteries on those systems. But if you do encounter a broken parking meter, you're advised to make payment via the mobile app or through an online payment method. Otherwise, you could get that ticket and that fine out there. The city and staff are identifying and fixing these broken meters as they make the rounds for collections out there. You know what my opinion is on that? If it's broken, you don't pay. Not now you'll get fined if you don't go online. But what are you making it so difficult for? Fix them. Not hard if you want the money, right? Out there. But I just wanted to make you aware of that. I know a lot of people go downtown for an assortment of reasons and do those parking meters. So just heads up. You find a broken meter, still pay for it. Hey, folks, we usually end this show with a food story out there. Instead, let's go to our couch cushions. Should we start up a McCollum Mom Business Fund here for what we're about to talk about? Yes. Yeah, Ann says, yep, we're all listening this morning. Last week of school for the kids out there as well as everybody gets out, Wednesday or Thursday, I believe, this week. And then, of course, high school graduation's coming up on Thursday, at least in Queen Creek and the Gilbert districts out there is when that is as well. So, yeah, they also, by the way, they also tasted, follow TME Media AZ, they tasted the Nutella ice cream, gave some good reviews as well. I believe I saw this morning, Papa Mike messaged me and said he tried it, I believe. I just saw the headlines there, Pop Mike. So if you're talking about something else, we'll just say you like the Nutella ice cream as well from that as we're going into this station. But going on air here today. But here's the big question for you. How much money do you want to invest in this company that you got an idea for? Three new artworks this week could sell for $100 million each. Yeah. May auctions are about to begin here, folks, for these high end art things. You can hang it up over I don't know, over my one of my TVs, I guess. I don't know. Well, $2 billion worth of art is headed to auction at Christie's, Sotheby's, and Phillips. And three specific works are estimated to sell for up to $100 million. Mark Rothko and Jackson Pollock are the two headline artists here that could fetch up to those $100 million. Big question mark here, though. We might get a deal, folks. We have to be prepared for this, right? The Iran war clouding buyer expectations, how much money's out there, how many people have free money. we might be able to get a deal under $100 million for one of these paintings. We play our cards right and get lucky, folks. Yes. What do you guys say? We can do it, can't we? Yeah. So these major auction houses are counting on these blockbuster works to carry the market past the gloom of geopolitical conflict and volatile market financial markets. Yes. So, they're just not sure if the money's going to be out there. Now, we know one thing: rich people are continuing to spend money on things moving forward, right? So they say um, mega collectors out there, today's mega collectors, they say, would be like Jeff Bezos, Steve Cohen, who owns the Mets and is a cajillionaire as well. Then there's some Asian tech billionaires that have come into this mega collector space as well. Well, they're looking for ways to park their money here as their money has gotten bigger and fortunes have skyrocketed over the last several years. So that's why they're anticipating this $100 million time frame as well. So they're sitting on a bunch of cash. They need to put it somewhere. I think if I shared my art as nothing but a money laundering scheme theory here on this program, I'm not sure if I have or not. But people that buy $100 million things of art, they're just looking to put money someplace, or they're getting divorced and they want to hide money from their spouse. It's just there's no reason these paintings go for that much money other than that. So yeah, in 2023, auction sales started declining. Sellers held back their top works at that time because the money wasn't there as well. So without supply, total sales totals fell, and galleries started cutting back or even closing in that 2023 tall frame. But last fall, few big collections did come up for sale, and of course, with that, sales did come back. The recent auctions in London, there was a $175 million white glove sale at Sotheby's. It showed strong bidding across all price points and categories. Yeah. So the success of this month's sales there, the May sales in New York with those three agencies, well, it's going to hand on the well-known collections and the well-known artists out there as well. So Christie's is offering works from the collection of Samuel Irving, S.I. Newhouse Jr. He died in 2017 as well, so his stuff is coming up for sale. Some of it is ugly, I might add, right, as well. Yeah, he has a 1913 sculpture by Constantine Brascusi, estimated to sell for $100 million. That's called Denade. I don't know how to say it. A large scale Jackson Pollock drip painting, tile number 7A8, 1948. It's also estimated at that $100 million. There it is. There's the Danade right there. That thing. 1913 sculpture by Constantine. $100 million is what that's going to do. And then if you've ever seen a Jackson Pollock drip painting, yeah, they say $100 million for that as well. There you go, folks. $100 million for that bad boy right there. They're selling works from late collector Agnes Gund, including Martha Rothko's number 15, two greens and a red stripe, what that's called. They say that's going to go for around $80 million, or that's the worth of it as well. So a lot of people going, and folks, hey, you got money, you need to hide from somebody, government or otherwise. There's what we do right there. I think as at the MLB here, as the guy that kind of covers this, I say we stick to sporting enterprises or things that don't look like that for that kind of money, right? Am I right? You guys agree with me on that? Hey, folks, I appreciate you joining me here on this Monday edition. Papa Mike says, tell Dale to write a check. He'll just stare at me funny as well. Kind of like what I'm doing with those as well. Like they're cool. They're cool looking, I guess. $100 million cool looking. Yeah, that's only when you're like, oh, I got too much money. I need to do something. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. here at McCollum on Business. Come and join us, would you? We'll get going. We're going to roll right into the main event here at 8 o'clock. And me and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hillstreet get you caught up on the sports weekend as well, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Monday night.